Hey guys, welcome back. Dragonstar here. And I just watched the video that T90 posted on his channel, and he did like the infantry ram thing since it's out on the big channel. So it's one of the build orders I like to use when playing against certain matchups I'm uncomfortable playing for the long game. I know the matchup is pretty messed up and you can't win in the late game. So there is a timing attack you can do with infantry and rams and kill them before they can get to that point. So the build I really like to do is with Japanese, but certain other civilizations that you can try are definitely something like Celts, Malay, Khitans. There's a bunch of options if you have infantry plus ram with your unique unit, but my favorite one so far has been Japanese to pull this off because of all their bonuses and samurai being a very, very strong unit which deals with other unique units. So certain matchups and civilizations you can completely destroy when you most of the time play against is something like Turks, Spanish, Portuguese. These civilizations are pretty even like Armenians, Bohemians, all of these civilizations are pretty common on arena, and if you play Japanese this way you can completely nullify their advantages for the map. Of course, it's very high risk. If your castle drop does get denied, you're kind of screwed. But in most games, people don't really expect Japanese to play like this. That's why we're gonna just do the build. I'm gonna explain and talk about it. And after that, I'll show you an example game. The start of it will look very standard. We are going for that 26 plus 2. Get loom if you have not traded your scout. And in this one, what I would actually advise is to actively try to force a fight against your opponent's scout, even if you end up losing it. So whenever a scout fights in Dark Age, there's a 50-50% chance of you winning the fight. Most of the time. Of course, if you have some tricks where you just go back and then attack again into the scout, you want to be actually trading your scout's hit points against your enemy so that your villages can one-shot your opponent's scout. If you do not have that happen, you have to research loom because the starting scout can kill unloomed villagers. Also, the requirement for this usually is that your opponent isn't really that interested in going for something like light cavalry, which is pretty common at high level, but depending on which civilization you end up playing against, light cav is a little bit less common. And on the map I talked about with T90 about the map was bypass, so there's almost no chance of you actually being punished for playing like that. But this is more for arena. This is even more high risk than the map I told him to do it. This will not work 100% of the time, but when it does work, you will completely crush your opponent. That's the whole point of the build. We go for 3 on word, rest on food, push the deers, take 1 sheep and then push the deers. If it's chicken, learn to funnel them. Funneling them basically means you make palisades on a diagonal on the chickens so that you can funnel them to your town center. I talked about it in my boom build order on arena 27 plus 2 if you want to check that out. So far, 3 on word, everything else on food. You want to get 14 on food as fast as possible. Once I have 14 on food, then I'll redistribute the villagers somewhere else. Put all the villagers on food. Usually the food count you want to have is 10 on food under the town center collecting hunt, 4 on the berries, and after that you start sending villages to the other resources. The easiest way of going for fast castle is you have to remember that you need 14 on food in Dark Age so that you can get up to castle age. When the first board is around 150 food, I'll send a second villager. And I'm gonna just wait for the villagers to fill up on the berries. Shift click those villagers. Once I have the 10 on food under the town center, I make a second lumber camp. With Japanese, you can get away with doing this. With other civilization, it's a little bit more difficult because you will have to send villagers to one lumber camp. You'll have a little bit more bumping than usual. Make another house. We go up with 26. Once you have your boar finished, you make 3 farms. And then we distribute our villages on gold and stone. First we go on stone, 6 on wood. This is an awkward mining camp. Not sure how I'll put it. Let's do it like this. Depending on what is remaining, you have to make a decision of if you're going to get loom or not. We have to walk our villagers across the map to drop the castle on their face. So I found his scout, so I'll actively try to fight it. Last 2 villages go to gold. The AI won't really fight me, but you can see it kind of working. I'm trying to micromanage my villages on every economy resource to get as much efficiency out of it as possible. Not supposed to happen. You want to keep your scout outside the base to make sure you escort your villages when you're moving across the map. But I wasn't really paying attention on it. Usually your opponent scout won't really try to drag you inside if he knows you're actively trying to fight him. The less risky version is skipping loom, where you would put this 1 extra villager from food to gold. You can do it that way if you want to. I would most of the time just skip it and squeeze a little bit more resources out of my villager by skipping loom. Once you're up, control group the villages you're gonna make the market blacksmith with. These villages can go to the berries and stone. I have the food income I need. I'll get the wood upgrade. That's the only economy upgrade you're actually going to get. Basically wants 7 on stone. And we click up. And you want to pull at least 10 villagers to make the castle forward. So these are going to be my 10 villages that I'm going to send forward. As soon as my villagers are collecting the stone, I'll put them on the other resources. It does not matter which resource, like which villages you go forward with. It mostly matters that you time it so that your castle starts being constructed at the same time. You send them forward. Yep, so this should be almost enough. I'm already going to start to position some of these villagers. This is 4. And we start moving across. Get loom on the way. We have our 650 stone. Overgathered a little bit, should not matter as much. Make it on his wall if possible. This is why you want to have your scout around to see this is happening. Making a palisade or some house or something usually is a good sign of your villages clumping together. While that is happening, you make 4 additional farms. Does the AI actually target the weak villager? The wolf and the AI scout kinda delayed me. I'm gonna drop it on the gate, and I'm also going to make a siege workshop immediately, get the armor for my samurai, and we're gonna start making villages and sending them to gold and wood based on whichever resources are close to you. You make a camp on it. So I have berries closest to me. I'll make my camp on the berry and distribute my resources based on that. And start trying to break in. You wanna basically immediately attack. Make a ram, make samurai. One of the bigger things you can do at this stage of the game is start idling your town center for constant samurai production. And once you have your ram in, you send basically 2 villagers together with the rams so that you can start taking down the town center. Fill up the ram completely with the samurai. You can basically stop making villages at around 31 villagers and start going for his town center immediately. As soon as he starts attacking the ram with the villagers, you can eject the samurai and kill the ram and put your samurai back in the ram and keep ejecting and putting them back inside. Keep making rams and samurai. If he starts targeting, you eject the samurai and kill the villagers, and you can keep doing this. As soon as you have 2 villages repairing, there is almost nothing he can do to stop it. And that's basically the build. You just keep making more samurai. And that's GG in 8 minutes. From the time I went inside, like the game is completely over if you pull 2 villagers to repair the ram. If you pull 2 or 3, you can do 4 villagers if you really want to make sure it stays alive, but 2 villagers is close to enough. If you have stone next to the castle, take stone. If you have gold next to the castle, take gold. Use the market to sell off whatever resources you are collecting and try to kill your opponent that way. This is super cheesy, very high risk, but insanely high reward for it. You can kill opponents' castles. You can kill opponents' town centers. 4 rams is usually the count you're looking for. I'm pretty sure I did tell T90 to go for 4 rams rather than 5. He said he heard me say 5, so maybe there's just some miscommunication because it was like my first time telling him the strategy. But that's basically the build order for it. Try and test it on the ladder. You'll die most of the time, but the times it will work, you'll be very happy. One of the easiest way of pulling this off is not even in 1v1. You can do it in team game flank. If you're a team game flank and you have an infantry civilization, castle drop their walls, go for rams with the samurai or with whichever infantry you end up playing with, and make a bunch of petards if they start walling behind their initial lair. Whenever you do rush like this, it's going to be very difficult for your opponent to deal with. Okay, let me just show an example game that I ended up playing against a friend. It was on the Warlords map for Arena, but in terms of the build order, almost nothing changed. I kind of did it on the fly, but the actual build order is already what you saw over here. Okay, let me switch to that in Capture Age. Okay, we are back, and this is the game I wanted to show you guys. We can skip the Dark Age. This is Japanese versus humans. A little bit unrealistic, but human likes to go for a 2 town center boom, and I have to punish the 2 TC boom. Usually when you're playing against humans on Arena, you wanna be punishing their boom in some way by picking up all the relics, applying pressure, maintaining map control, stuff like that. You accept that you're going to be behind in economy, or you go for an all-in on them and try to kill them immediately. So this is the build-up. I'm going for 26 pop, as I told before, 6 on word. Balanced a little bit of my food incorrectly, so I ended up overloading my berries to fix that mistake. Go for market blacksmith, all the good stuff that we talked about in the build order part of the video. And now you're gonna end up seeing the power of this. I pulled 10 villages on stone so that I can get to 650 stone. I get to 660. Also, in the end, I was actively hunting for a scout, so I end up killing his scout. Even if you lose the scout, it's a 50-50 if you're going to end up doing that. So he's on stone. He doesn't know that this is coming. Nobody expects the freaking Japanese castle drop on arena. And now you see the ram being built up. I made a house to make sure his gate can actually not eject some units if he was massing anything. I go for the ram, I kill the gate. I'm instantly going for the town center, pulling 2 villages to repair the ram. He's trying to take it down. He's targeting my villager. The samurai eject itself to deny him from actually getting rid of my rams. He's going to try his best, but he's going to end up losing a lot of villages in the process. So far I have 30 villagers, and I have basically stopped making villages right now. He's going for step lances. Step lances are very good if you can mass enough of them and try to snipe my rams. But I have enough samurai where I won't really let him touch me, and I'm always using the scout to keep an eye out on where he's going to pressure me from. I took down his siege workshop. His town center is gone. He's completely trying to isolate my reinforcements, and he realizes if he actually ends up taking this fight, it's gonna be disaster for him. It's 5 military versus 20 military. He's kind of pinned in a corner. These villages are about to go down. I was just targeting his stables to cut off his production. If he doesn't have enough units, he will never be able to get rid of my rams and samurai spam. I had 31 villages. The only upgrades I end up getting on my blacksmith and my wood. So in this one, I have gold near me. So I actually seeded more farms than normal, and I'm buying my food and wood based on whatever is the requirement. That's why it depends completely on which resources ends up spawning in where the position for your castle drop. You actually want to position your castle drop so that your villagers don't have to walk really far away from the castle to collect one of the resources. Sending them all the way back into your base is not efficient. So doing it this way is a little bit more resources efficiency wise a better thing to do. 821 KD, he just killed my 1 repair villager, and resources collected, he's 1000 resources ahead, but he's just about to lose basically all the extra economy he ended up having over me. It's 40 to 31, but we have almost triple his or quadruple his military. That was the example game of the strategy. Kind of wanted to hide it for future events or something, but since T90 posted it on his channel, it felt appropriate to give it to the people. Use it, abuse it, see if it works for you guys, and when you end up winning, come back and post on this video on how strong this build actually feels to you guys. Okay, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.